right, what is going on, Bills Mafia? So, AFC Conference Championship game this week, 27 years. And I mean, I'm 28, so it's been like essentially my whole life has been rough watching the Bills play. But it is great to see him back in the AFC Conference Championship game. And of course, like everybody kind of figured, AFC Super Bowl goes to Kansas City in the AFC. That's just how it is right now. Although, like I said, teams are getting good. You know, the Bills are good. The Colts are good. Dolphins are kind of coming up big, depending obviously how, Tua pans out for them and everything like that. Ravens are good. Baker Mayfield and Browns are good. There's a lot of good teams out in the AFC right now. So I don't think it's going to be a story of dominance like it was for the Patriots, for the last 20 years with 6 rings. For the Chiefs, I think there's a lot of teams getting good at the right time, and you saw it. I mean, in the AFC, all the quarterbacks were so young in the playoffs, and the NFC had all the older guys. So I think there's a lot of good teams coming up. I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming up. I don't think it's going to be, Super Bowl goes to Kansas City every single year, but that's how it is this year, and that's just how it is. Listen, before we get started on anything, the Kansas City Chiefs are a good team, but we need to talk about this Patrick Mahomes situation. Patrick Mahomes is in concussion protocol, and a lot of things have been crazy about and around concussions, especially in the game of football. I want to see Pat Mahomes be healthy, good to go, play on Sunday. I feel like a cheap win if we beat the Chad Henne-led Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't think that as Bills fans, we want to win in a cheap manner and have any kind of asterisk next to our season. So I would like to see Patrick Mahomes healthy, and I would like to see him play. I'd like to see him healthy also because I want to see Patrick Mahomes play football for a lot more years. Patrick Mahomes is a lot like Josh Allen in the sense that he's fun to watch play football. So I would like him to be healthy and not, push himself back too quickly and hurt the rest of his career in football. But listen, Josh came back from a concussion that he got in the Patriots game last year. He came back in 5 days. He was fine. Good to go. They're young guys. They don't have a lot of CTE issues. I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll be good to go. No concussion. I know everybody's talking about how he's going to play with a concussion either way, which is, listen, it's true. Frankly, he would play either way. It's too much money that the NFL would be missing out on to not have Patrick Mahomes in there. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be good to go. I think he'll pass the protocol correctly, and I think he'll be fine. The only issue that I've had, one is all the armchair, medical experts who are saying this is that, and I don't think he has whatever. I don't know because I don't know that kind of stuff. It's not up to me. He's in concussion protocol. To me, it looked like he got a concussion, but if he's in the protocol, he's in the protocol. He has to pass the steps either way. My only real issue I've had so far is in this day and age when we're looking at player safety and it's important, especially these quarterbacks. I mean, there's a lot of rules against hitting them and hurting them. Like we want to keep them healthy. So when Andy Reid came out and said, hey, he ran to the tunnel, it seemed good, years back, he would have just came back into the game. That upsets me a little bit, that Andy Reid thinks like that, because, Andy, listen, we used to smoke on airplane, and we used to allow pregnant people to smoke. Listen, Andy, yes, years ago, we didn't know as much as we know now, so he shouldn't have been in the game again. He clearly had a very negative response after that hit and shouldn't have continued playing because it's dangerous. That just rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. But I digress. Listen, Patrick Mahomes is playing. There was a weird thing where they actually listed him as a full participant on Wednesday for practice, and then they were like, hey, you got to change that. He's not allowed to fully participate in practice, which means Patrick Mahomes fully participated in practice on Wednesday. So Patrick Mahomes is playing on Sunday. It's not even up at the air at this point. I do not think he'll have any negative effects from any kind of concussion or issue that he had on that hit. The only really lingering issue that he'll have going to that game is the issue he's been dealing with for a little bit, and he has a toe issue. He looked a little bit hobbled is almost too strong a word. He looked a little bit slower on his feet, a little bit more lumbering a little bit on that toe. So I think that will play an effect on him a little bit, and I don't think you'll probably see as many designed runs, if any at all, on Sunday from the Chiefs. But like I said, Andy Reid, he's kind of an old school guy, so part of me thinks that like he doesn't care as much a little bit. So maybe you will see a couple, but I doubt you'll see a lot of designed runs for Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think it'll stop him from scrambling and using his legs to make plays. I think maybe he's a little bit more hesitant or a little bit slower about it. But for the most part, I think he's going to continue to play at the level that he plays at, with the tools and weapons available to him, whether it's his own tools or, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So that is my small rant about the whole concussion thing. Patrick Mahomes is going to play. I don't think anybody's doubting that at this point. He's been practicing, essentially fully practicing. I don't see a independent neurologist denying his ability to play. He's probably honestly already like matched the steps he needs to match to play on Sunday's game, but he still needs to technically go through each step and make sure he can still match at each level. So Coach protocol is kind of weird. He's playing on Sunday. Really, that's not a story for that. So looking at the game, I see a lot of people. It's weird. There's like two schools of thought when it's playing the Chiefs. Like, hey, slow them down, take away your other possessions, run the ball, dink and dunk down the field, shorten the game, don't let them score a lot of points. And then you have the, hey, it's a shootout. You got to score more points than them, and you got to keep scoring. Like, score as quickly as you can, give them the ball, they score, you got to score back and forth, and that's the way the game works. We tried the take away their possessions, do our best to keep the score close in the beginning of the year. Everyone says we were poised to, we had a shot in that game late in the game. Listen, if you want to shorten the game, you can beat Kansas City like that. You can. But you have to play mistake-free football. And if you're 100% certain that you can play mistake-free football for 4 quarters, you're wrong. Now, you can do it, but there is no guarantee that that's how it's going to work. The Browns tried to play that game plan against the Kansas City Chiefs. They shortened that game, and it seemed like they were there in the end, at a 1-score game before that 4th quarter conversion. Who knows if they score again, if they get the ball back, whatever. But, what happened is they win that game. If they don't, fumble the ball through the end zone and get a touchback. That was the game for them. That's the mistake that cost them that game. You can't make that if you're going to shorten the game and run the ball out against Kansas City. You cannot make that mistake or you lose the game because you don't give yourself enough time because you're shortening the game so heavily. So if you make that fatal error, you lose. If you turn the ball over, you lose. You have to play mistake-free football. And that's why these teams that try to do it can't do it because they make that mistake. And it's easy to make a mistake in football. It's easy to make that mistake. So you cannot guarantee for 4 quarters that you're not going to be able to make a mistake, or you're not going to make a mistake. And you can see it. You can go back to these games. People played them close, but they made fatal errors. They made that turnover. You can see it with the Browns. They turned the ball over with that touchback. If they scored that touchdown right there, that game is completely different. Now they have to continue to play mistake-free football. But if you can do that, you can make 0 mistakes, shorten that game, yes. Yes, you can beat Kansas City like that. But do you really want to go away from what you do to play that kind of football and really, really take that gamble that there are going to be no mistakes made? There's going to be no tip pass at the line and for an interception. There's not going to be any of that just weird turnover stuff because turnovers are so random. And I know people hate hearing that, but like the ball is random once it's out there, So if it gets tipped, it's a 50-50 shot. Your guy comes down with it. No one comes down with it, or there's another chance as they're going to pick it off. So turnovers for the most part are kind of random. So it's hard to bank on the fact that you are not going to make that fatal error. Plus, our offense is explosive this year. We're a pass-heavy team. We like to score points. I personally think the philosophy we need to go into this game is score points and score a lot of them. Because I think we have the better defense right now. If you asked me in the beginning of the year, maybe it would have been a different answer. But right now, I believe in our defense, and I didn't as much earlier in the season. Our defense seems to be back to that 2018 form. They're good. Our defense is good right now. And They are capitalizing when they can. They're putting points on the board. Our defense is playing its best football at the best time. So I think our defense is better than Kansas City's defense. So if I had to bank on Josh Allen in a shootout with Patrick Mahomes right now, just based off of opposing defenses, I feel a little bit better about Josh Allen's chances to score more points. The issue is, it's kind of, we are playing a little bit unbalanced right now. And I know everybody's like, oh, well, how are they going to play in the playoffs with no run game? And I know we've been using screens and short passes and kind of operating similar to the Steelers kind of abandoned the run and started using a short passing game to supplement. But it still allows them to really get after the passer and worry about coverage instead of worrying about the run. It's frustrating, though, when you see Devin Singletary rip off 12-yard runs. You see him operating at 4 or 5 yards per carry. Our run game's not terrible. We just don't really stick to it enough. And I think we need to use it a little bit more. I would love to see the Bills run the ball a couple more times with our running backs, just to kind of keep the Kansas City defense honest. Like, I don't need them to run it on first down every drive. I don't need them to always run it on third and short. What I need them to do is run the ball a little bit more, just to keep the defense a little bit more honest. I would love to see Devin Singletary get a good handful of touches, and I would actually like to see Devontae Freeman get a little bit of touches as well, to kind of be that change of pace back. We had the two-headed backfield, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary. I don't think Yeldon is our best running back running the ball, but I think he's a great pass catcher. I think we need to have all those three guys up, and I think we need to utilize them a little bit more, using Yeldon similar to how we use Cole Beasley on those short route options. Give him a little bit of leeway to get open and catch the ball. And I think that will give us the ability to, if we run the ball a little bit more, take a couple of short passes, it'll open up the field, down the field, for Diggs, Gabriel Davis, John Brown, some of our deep threats. And that way, it just keeps us a little bit more dynamic, so they can't just kind of tee off and know we're going to do the same thing every time. You saw it. That's what we tried to do to the Chiefs in the beginning of the year. We were like, hey, they pass the ball, and that's what they do. So, you know what? We are going to tee off, get after Patrick Mahomes, and we're going to sit back in coverage. So, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he ran for 1 trillion yards that game. Like, Patrick Mahomes may have only had 200-plus passing yards, but, when they're running the ball down our throats for 200-plus yards, it's going to be tough for us to win that game. They essentially scored points while shortening the game on us and gave us a worse chance to come back. So, listen, we are a different team than we were. There was a lot of mitigating circumstances to the Tennessee and Kansas City game, and I understand that. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying it's a completely different situation with essentially what is a different team, because the Chiefs have been not as explosive the last 6 to 7 weeks. 8, I guess, if you have that bye kind of mixed in there. I forget that they didn't play, but they haven't been as explosive, and we have been that explosive. We've ran into some tough defenses in the playoffs. Like, we have played some of the best defenses in the playoffs in the Colts and the Ravens. So I get that we haven't put up a ton of points. I mean, we put up 27 on the Colts defenses, which is nothing to scoff at, but really our offense only put up 10 points on the Ravens defense, and the Ravens defense is really, really good. I think that we have played the best defenses we will have played in the playoffs. I guess the Bucs defense is good as well. So if we do end up playing the Bucs, obviously they're a good defense as well. But we have played some really good defenses, and we've played better defenses in the playoffs than we've played pretty much all year. I think what we need to do on offense to beat the Chiefs is I think we need to come out. I think we need to get Josh Allen and do his rhythm. I need to get some short throws, some easy throws, some good throws, his favorite plays. Get him into his rhythm, because we have seen, especially last year, but still a couple times this year, I know Kyle Brandt has coined him as Sugar High Josh Allen. Whatever you want to call him, there are times where teams come out and they stop Josh from getting into a rhythm, and he gets antsy and he plays worse. So the best defensive we have played, what they try to do is they get Josh Allen and they get after him quick, and they stop him from getting into a rhythm. Because you can see it sometimes in the first quarter where he doesn't get the ball until after they get their drive, and he hasn't touched the field yet, and he's back at R4, and he goes 3 and out, and you can see those halves, they are worse. But then he gets the ball first at the 25, or if Andre Roberts has a good return at the 35 or the 40, and you watch him start dialing up these throws, and he'll start scrambling to his right, and he'll drop one to Diggs, and he'll drop one to Beasley, and he'll drop one to Davis, and then you see him. It's like when he starts running. Josh is scary when he gets that momentum. Once he starts moving, he needs that. He needs to kind of get that up and running like a steam engine, and then he's just flying. But if most teams, what they want to do is get him out of that rhythm, stop him from getting that rhythm, stop him from getting started, and then he plays a lot worse. He gets a little bit antsy. He makes throws he shouldn't. He starts making a little bit inaccurate throws. Starts popping up a little bit of high balls, getting our receivers killed across the middle. So they are going to come after him. They're going to come after him hard, and they're going to come after him fast in the very beginning to try to stop him from finding that rhythm. The longer they can keep Josh Allen out of rhythm, the better they have at stopping our offense. Because we have an explosive offense. We have a pass-heavy explosive offense. I think if we run the ball a little bit more, hit a couple of those screen passes, the jet sweep to Isaiah McKenzie, the shorter passes onto the sideline, let Diggs like he's going long, cutting out. Get him a couple, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 yard receptions around the sticks. Get Josh Allen to that rhythm, and he will be humming for that whole game. The earlier you get him going, the better he is going to play for the whole game. You see it in the games where he passes 400 plus yards. He gets going early, and he doesn't stop. That's what you need to do. Brian Daboll needs to dial that up. They need to go after this defense. They need to get Josh Allen going, and then that defense is going to have a hard time stopping him all day long. On the flip side of the coin, I told you I believe in our defense. I think our defense can stop this offense. Kansas City, they may not be putting up all the points, but they're still a high-powered offense with star power all over. They have a fantastic offensive line. They have one of the best tight ends in football, if not the best tight end in football. You can make the case George Kittle. But Travis Kelce is a phenomenal tight end. Tyreek Hill, phenomenal wide receiver. Mecole Hardman, also a phenomenal wide receiver. I mean, they're a good team. I'm not sure what we're looking at for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm not sure if he is going to play or if they're going to keep him on a snap count, how healthy he is going to be. I'm not sure. He was limited in a fairly walkthrough practice last I heard, so I'm not sure where he's sitting. But Sammy Watkins the same way with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he's also a phenomenal receiver. Obviously with ties to the Buffalo Bills, I think he's probably more than past that at this point, but they have a star-studded cast on the offensive side of the ball. We need to make sure we play. Our defensive backs don't give up that big play, but we need to make sure that our front seven is also able to stop the run because we got gashed last time. I don't know defensively how you stop the Kansas City Chiefs. I know how you can slow them down a little bit, I guess, but it is just so hard to cover everybody. And another thing, all year, I feel like we've been getting gashed by tight ends. Like, we need to lock Kelce up. If he just feasts all day, it's going to be tough for us to win this game. So, I don't know if you man Taron Johnson up on Travis, just leave him on Kelce all day with some help from Matt Milano on the linebacker core, or what. I don't know if you double Tyreek. And it's tough. You can't double everybody. They have so many people out there. So what we need to do is we need to not blitz. We don't need to blitz. Our defensive line really, really needs to work to get some pressure and contain, very similar to how we did with Lamar. I know we blitzed a little bit. We were sending, but if we do blitz Patrick Mahomes, we need to do it like we blitzed Lamar. Like Levi Wallace needs to be coming in on blitzes. We need to disguise to the best of our ability who is coming and who is in man coverage, and that's really the only way you're going to be able to get after Mahomes. I've been seeing people talk about attack his left side because of that toe injury, which is actually where we send most of our defensive back blitzes anyways. That's where Trey White, Levi Wallace, Taron Johnson come off usually. Jordan Poirier sometimes comes up on the right side of the QB, left side of our line. But we need to make him feel uncomfortable as much as we can. If you let him sit back there, he is going to dot you up. If you blitz him too much, he will either find someone open because you can't double cover everybody, or he'll just take off and move with his legs and pick up a first down. He's very similar in play style to Josh Allen, because when they blitz Josh Allen, he loves it. He loves it. He operates so well under that blitzing pressure because he knows he's got receivers and stars that are going to beat those guys in man coverage. So he just waits that extra second, pushes himself out to the right or to the left, and he waits. And he finds Gabriel Davis on the sideline, or he finds Stephon Diggs, or he finds Cole Beasley underneath, because that's how our team operates, and that's how Kansas City operates. So we need to make him feel uncomfortable. We need to not let Patrick Mahomes get into rhythm. We need to disguise and not blitz as often, especially with like just straight linebacker blitzes. We need to disguise our coverage, and we need to disguise our blitzes. It's really essentially the way you beat Kansas City is the same way you come out and you beat the Buffalo Bills. You have to score more points than them, and you have to make their quarterback feel uncomfortable, because if you let Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes sit back in the pocket, then they are going to beat you with their arm, and they're going to do it all day. I don't really recall the last time I've seen two teams built so similarly playing each other, especially in such a big game. It's very weird to think about. But honestly, like, the tips that I give to our defense is the tips that someone would probably give to the Kansas City defense. Just the thoughts and ideas, because we operate very similarly. And I'm hoping that actually plays in our favor, because I really, really, truly believe that we have the better defense. And I think that is going to be what can win us this game. I have seen some wild score predictions across everywhere, like 60 plus points for each team. I don't think it's going to be as explosive. I think it is going to be a shootout, but like I said, last time I said that at the Ravens game, it didn't even happen. So I think it's going to be a one-score game for sure. I think the Bills are going to win by... I'm trying to think here, because we haven't even talked about it. So kicking an Arrowhead is tough, especially this late into the year. Tyler Bass is not going to just be booting 55-yard field goals. I think Harrison Butker hit the longest one in postseason in January, and it was 50 yards. Tyler Bass got a strong leg, but it's rough up there. It's rough to kick in Buffalo as well, but it's rough to kick in Arrowhead. So I don't see a ton of long kicks being made, but I think we win. Ooh, man. I'm struggling with this prediction. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think we win by 3 points. I think we win like 35-31. 4 points, sorry. I think we win 35-31. It's going to be a close, tight one-score game. And I think our team needs to get up. And I think what we need to do is we need to get that ball, get up in the fourth quarter. We try not to give the ball back. Get a defensive stop after we go up. Get that ball back, and then just hold the ball for like 8 minutes. Because it was always like this with Tom Brady. Like, you don't want to give that man the ball back. If he has a chance to score to win in a minute and 30 seconds, like, he's probably going to do it. That's how I feel about Mahomes as well. So I'm hoping that we can keep that ball out of his hands, keep the ball in Josh's hands to win the game. Because I want Josh to have the ball to win the game, not Patrick Mahomes. All right, guys. So this was probably a little bit of a long one. I know I did my little rant in the beginning, and it's a pretty big game. So I've been trying to do my best to keep them a little bit shorter. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk for 30 minutes. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Bills Mafia, AFC Conference Championship game. Enjoy it. Try to be as, less stressed as you can be. But come on. I mean, it's the Bills. Always try to stress you out. But guys, feel free to like and subscribe. If you want to see more content like this or any other content kind of related to this, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think your score prediction is going to be. And yeah, go Bills.